Sorry, Senator Grassley.
Mr. Sequeira, I want to briefly discuss policy issues and implications surrounding undocumented immigration and amnesty. First, does providing a mass legalization program for undocumented immigrant farm workers actually address the problems of shortages in the agricultural labor? And does such a program do anything to break the cycle of agricultural dependence on undocumented labor?
I'm sorry. Thank you, Senator. I think the easy answer to your question is no. The data shows us that providing legalization, and there may be perfectly valid policy reasons to do so, but the data shows that that does not solve the workforce labor shortage. All of those workers, or nearly all of them who would receive legal status, are already employed. Providing them legal status, again, may have some benefits, but it doesn't create any more workers to fill any of the openings.
Okay. Also, the last time you were before this committee, I spoke about my concerns with the 1986 Immigration Reform and Control Act and issues with Special Agricultural Worker Program. Does the Immigration Reform and Control Act offer us any cautionary tales with respect to the results of a mass farm worker legalization program?
Yes, Senator, it does, which is it's the exactly wrong approach to take. Providing legalization without ensuring a workable, future, reasonable guest worker flow doesn't solve the problem. The workers who were legalized under the 1986 amnesty quickly left agriculture to pursue other jobs in the economy, and no one can blame them for attempting to move up the economic ladder. That's part of the American dream. But those workers left agriculture and left additional openings that had to be filled. And with no reasonable means of filling them through any legal process, and with virtually no enforcement at the border, workers flooded across and filled those jobs that the recently legalized workers had vacated.
Okay, then also for you, several constituents have reached out to me regarding issues of the Labor Department's adverse effect wage rule and the impact that it has on them. What changes would you like to see Congress or the Department of Labor pursue in terms of how the wage rule is calculated?
Senator, I'm quite sure that everyone here will not stand around long enough to hear the long list in response to that question. I think, in short, the current wage calculation status is broken, simply put. It's not rational, it's not transparent, and most importantly, it's not predictable. As we've heard today, being notified 30 days in advance that you're going to have to increase your wage rates 10, 15, 20% per hour is an impossible business structure. Farmers are already committed for the year. They've already gone to the bank. They've already borrowed money based on what they expect their expenses are going to be. And the Department of Labor at the 11th hour will dramatically raise them. And they do this year in and year out. It's worse this year because the department has now pursued an entirely new methodology and theory for trying to raise certain wage rates. It's going to insert even more unpredictability and more complexity into the system. And the bottom line is it increases costs for farmers by tens of millions of dollars.
Mr. Carr, we all know that farmers are struggling to find stability for their labor pool. In your view, what are the main drivers of the agriculture sector's reliance upon undocumented immigration labor?
When you say reliance on undocumented labor, the first and foremost is we have a society, a domestic workforce that is not choosing to do these jobs. It's clearly and amply pointed out when you see that less than 1% of Americans apply for the over 300,000 H-2A positions authorized every year. So it's an economic incentive for a foreign worker to come to this country. They're coming here not to migrate here and become citizens here. They're coming here for the economic opportunity. If we created a better guest worker program and reformed the H-2A program, we could solve this problem, and we could have a legal flow of workers coming in and out of this country to support our domestic food production.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.